Sienna God, hello all. Good afternoon, Wado. Thank you for watching. This is day 29 of reading Lone Wolf Alpha Squad Copy Over by James Rink, and these are his experiences. They take DNA from all people who have reptoid DNA. They are the ones being used to create super clones of soulless warriors who will be super fighters unable to feel remorse or any pain from their ugly duties. Cloned humans lack a soul as well as compassion for others. You're connected to the reptoids. They take all these samples from their hybrids to make clones of them. End quote. So am I a reptilian hybrid? Have you seen what I looked like before? Yes, I've seen you on the ship. Most reptoids aren't benevolent and want to harm and use people for their selfish gains, but you're of the benevolent species. Your clothes transform into... Okay, most reptoids aren't benevolent. Okay. Your clothes transform into a uniform when you shapeshift, and you grow to be about 8 to 9 feet tall in your true form. That reminds me of Men in Black, where that guy was that like cockroach type thing, and he was in that meat suit, you know, that guy. Anyway, but only when you are on their ship. While on Earth, your frequencies aren't high enough to allow you to shapeshift. Your star name is Travik, Travik. On the ships, you are strong, muscular, and not sickly. In space, most people don't have a last name like those on Earth, as the last name denotes that you're owned by someone. My last name means strong or great one in Kebben, Kebben language. Can you heal me? In quotes. My psychic abilities are natural. They are from my gray heritage. They put implants in you to track you and to monitor your body functions as people on Earth do to animals to study them. You must learn to work to use your abilities. They are mostly dormant, waiting for you to utilize them. To burn your implants, focus your third eye and heart chakra where they are located and send a powerful white light to envelop the implant. And visualize it burning up. Dissolve it into nothing. To protect yourself, visualize your DNA covered by a red-hot energy that burns those not authorized to touch or take samples of it. To try to block them from attacking you, project love energy into them. This should repel them. Do you have, and that's end quote, do you know how they activate me? And in the quotes it says, this code is connected to the MK Ultra program. They control you by giving you subliminal commands to make sure that you are compliant with their programming. I am sensing this phrase as something like be strong or love one another. Sanny, why, and that's in quotes, Sanny, why don't people believe us? And then in quotes, Dear James, don't let these idiots tell you how to use your mind. These people refuse to listen due to their fears and prejudices that their veil and conditioning have created for them. I am here to give your truth, and if they don't want to listen with an open mind, then they are a lost cause. Namaste, Commander Sanny. End quote. At this point, Sandy became very fearful of me, being that I was a super soldier, and she is really frightened of them. The covert government abused her badly as a child. According to a channeled session with David Lotherington, Lotherington, I have a mix of the follow ET genetics, so following ET genetics, but it says follow. 11% Saurian, Saurian, and in parentheses, Troodon, Troodon, ferocious, I don't know, Ferocious, and that ends the parentheses there. Reptilian DNA. These look like the slit green eye reptile guy in The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm about to watch that again. From 2012 movie. It says in parentheses 2012, and then it says movie. This genetic trait allows for more aggression, empathy, and intelligence. 6% Pleiadian, blue eyes, blonde hair. 4% Yael, YAH-YEL. These are an offshoot of the gray race, intelligent, calculative, less empathy, less emotional. 3% Arcturian, 2% Lyran, Lyran, 2% other, mix of about 20 other races. I'm about 30% ET. Most humans only have 2% or less ET genetics. The poor health suffered throughout my lifetime is a result of the injections of goos meant to coat my neurons so my intuition could be hijacked by negative AI, as well as fatigue due to being drained of energy by my alters, which the Draco controlled, and because only 2.8% of my soul was present in my body. Typically, you need at least 10% of your soul in your body to be alive for normal people. I was able to survive on less due to my crystalline DNA, which contains much more encoded information than a normal human soul. The torture being done to my avatars in other realms was also affecting me here. For instance, one of my avatar bodies had a tube in his spine pumping yellow and black goo into his stomach. As a result, it was making it impossible for me to digest and eliminate toxins in my current body. Whoa. To help me link up to these avatars, they put a series of etheric implants in me, which needed to be replaced when I hit puberty. They decided instead it would be much easier and cheaper to just stunt my height. Hence the reason I was only 5'1" by the time I was 25 years old. These implants look like a series of cybernetic wires connected to a computer control panel on the back of my neck. Overlaid in my soul is a Terminator-type spine and an implant in my pineal gland, which contains a lock on the door to accessing my other altars. It would have taken someone years to develop all this, as each implant has to be meticulously calibrated and customized for my unique DNA blueprint. ACIO records. According to ACIO records, Nathan Wilder is the nephew of Beth Wilder, who was chief of secretary at Monarch Solutions. She worked under Paul Serene, Serene, as a double agent to try to penetrate the secrets of the organization. Eventually, she was caught and killed. Paul Serene is the head of Monarch. His clone is Hollywood actor Kevin Spacey. March 2021. Remote viewing. Nate, he appears to be suffering badly. It looks like his soul is being contained in some facility on the moon. He has been tortured badly. He was recently stabbed in the back repeatedly with a knife in his newly cloned body. He died yet again, and his soul was then put into a freezing cold green liquid slime vat in a tank connected to 2 regeneration pods. On both sides are dozens of tanks with huge pipes going from other levels to the 5th level, where behind door 5A, the liquid is collected in a huge machine. This machine converts fear and negative soul energy into a food source. Reptilians come put their tails. Okay, it says this has this. Reptilians come, put their tails, there's no comma, put their tails in the pipes near the bottom of the machine and charge themselves up with it. Nate is in some sort of a suspended animation. There are 24 souls stuck here, all related to him being used as a food source. Nate responds, help. Under regression and using the astral form, he is scooped out of the vat, slime dripping down him. He is cold as ice, and his soul is loaded with cracks. Because of temporal displacement, he has been here for 150 years. They tried to split his soul 53 times. We also released 24 souls just like him from the same machine. Nate is a crystalline soul from the Omrac, O-M-R-A-C civilization. Nate responds, metal planet, say slave planet. Remember? His, and that was in quotes, by the way. His home world is now covered in what looks like a liquid metal solution of black goo. There are 8 artificial metal rings around his planet. Deep underground are caves filled with blue crystals everywhere. I was trying to think if this has been shown in sci-fi or something, because it seems familiar to me. His race is mining them. In his past life, he appears to be human-looking, blonde hair, no clothes, no sexes, but classified by DNA capacity. There is another race of beings enslaving the local populations. They look like yellow-skinned creatures with a black horn spike on their head, ordering people around. The natives appear to be in chains and forced to remain in a certain location to mine crystals for these beings. Nate had a very strong body compared to the other natives. The Anunnaki, Annunaki, connected to Orion and Draco, took notice and converted him into a new slave race of cyborgs, half human and half machine, with help from the short grays. They removed the top part of the skull and covered it with transparent glass. We've seen that like everywhere in sci-fi, you know, throughout the years and stuff. It'll either be glass, like in, or that plastic clean stuff, I don't know, it's supposed to be glass. In the 5th Element, with that dude that was controlling the bad guys and wanted to get the stones. Give me the stones. And then we've seen it in other things like Star Trek, Star Wars, like all that stuff. Anyway, Nate tried to leave his body, but they put more implants to control him. His crystalline DNA is needle-like and does not contain enough buffer zone spaces for etheric implants to reside, so they were not very successful at using implants to control him. He was pretty much useless as a super soldier, but they could still use him like a battery, or would trade him as a weapon, as he has a very energy-dense body. I, on the other hand, come from a crystalline race of beings in which my DNA could be implanted with etheric implants. Crystalline soul beings are especially powerful as their DNA is a quantum computer which contains a vast amount of information which can be mutated into anything you want. Nate attempts to change the timeline. He is spinning really fast. There are threads and threads of energy which grow into the size of the sun. He is getting close to the battle rings around the planet, and he makes fireworks of the energy and gives information to the miners on his homeworld. They are reconfiguring events of the timeline of the planet by using time tunnel portals. Black goo is drying up. Now cherry trees are blossoming. He is making a mushroom head configured into a sphere and converts it into a blue aura, which expands into a blue sun. Now there are two suns nearby. One is blue and one is golden color, but both artificially made. Nate is a hardworking, energy-dense body. Nate tells me, and this is in quotes, "I don't want to take over my clone body on Earth again. I can choose to insert myself into a body that loses its soul either through trauma or old age, and age regress it back. I am not sure if I want to come back. I need to rest for at least 100 years. I'll let you know through a dream when the time has come for me to return. You will recognize me by my eyes. I will say something only I and you would know." End quote. He is showing a big clone. He shows different bodies. He is very childlike. Nick responds, this is in quotes, "I can see it on the screen. The reality you're in is falling apart big time, like in the blink of an eye. Look, see, it's gone. But you're not going to change the timeline. The train is not going to go off the rails. It's going to be easier to connect. It's like us being in the eye of a tornado." And then, end quote. Nate doesn't see our reality like we see it. He can be in multiple places. He doesn't understand why he needs to be in the physical. He remembers being at Montauk with me and tells me, "You're the winner now and you're free." And the chains fall off, and now everyone will appreciate their freedom more. Chapter 12, Pathfinder. From 2008 on, I spent my time trying to assemble a timeline and hoping to find an explanation for what was going on within me. By now, I realized the needle marks were government connected to Black Ops, but I had no memories of what I was being used for in my double life. When I created my first Facebook profile, I started networking with many other MyLab victims, and that's when I met Carolyn. Carolyn was a gifted remote viewer who got in trouble with the government by remote viewing the U.S. nuclear silo activation codes and posting them on the internet. And ever since, they have been chasing and harassing her. Apparently, she saw my face and recognized me from somewhere. One of the first things she asked me was if I was military based on my short haircut and the energy she saw in my aura. I told her not officially, but I'm probably being used as a MyLab. When I tested her remote viewing skills, she was able to get a few images related to my experiences. First, she saw me in military fatigues with a gun. I would go into an opponent's mind and physically or psychically make them want to stand down and not fight. I work in a team. I'm like the unit leader. They depend on me for my intuition. Then she sees me with two men in military uniform dragging me into a hangar-like building. I was struggling to escape, but they dragged me the rest of the way. They interrogated me, demanded I sign some paperwork, giving them legal rights to do so. I refused, and they forged my signature. In the next image, she sees me in my bedroom. My handler is there. He knows he's being remote viewed, but didn't seem too concerned. We were spying on him. He was my safety net. Used to soothe my lab victims. He is taking a sample of my blood to see if the latest enhancements took hold and to check my blood safety levels. He then makes a joke about how I am the next generation of evolution and that the military gets us before everyone else. And then he grins. I then instructed her to look into my file. Even though she could not read the words, she could see some of the pictures. And then in quotes, "Well, when you were talking about it, the first impression I got was a big building where they store all that stuff, but it's not accessible to the public. I saw a filing cabinet with a folder, but not sure where the cabinet is. I see what looks like a file on you inside it. It looks like yellow manila folders. Inside that, I see a picture of you standing in front of a brick building. I can't really tell. Sort of just looks like a picture from an ID of you, maybe. I believe this is a recent picture. You are in front of some sort of brick business building. You are wearing jeans, but the shirt, I'm not sure. Though I saw the color red, I am not quite sure. Looks like the civilian clothing, though. So I'm going to leave it there. Dun dun go, hey, kiki, we need to we meet again. Love you, mean it.